My name is Metamela, and you're watching the Holographic Heartscape. I am with you today to talk about a very important topic and concerns to the process of ascension and being present with our collective consciousness of humanity as we are now shifting from the third dimension into unity perspective of the fifth dimension. So what I'm here to talk about today is meditation. Now, I realize that for some of you, you may have already been including this in your regular practice. But for some of you, it is rather a daunting topic. It may even be one of those areas of your practice that you feel rather insecure or that you are not good enough or spiritual enough. And I want to help alleviate some of these dualistic perspectives concerning meditation, because really meditation is a state of mind more than it is an actual act, such as sitting down in the lotus position like I am doing right now. For many of us, sitting still for an ample amount of time, releasing all thoughts, for some of you with very active minds, that might sound like impossible. Also for you who are still struggling with chronic pain, sitting in this position may not be feasible to you at this time, and that is okay. A lot of you might be meditating in areas of your life that you're not even aware that that's what you're doing. For example, sleeping is actually a meditation. One of the reasons we were designed to sleep and need sleep as part of our cell rejuvenation is not just to replenish ourselves, but also to make sure that we spend so many hours a day in a meditative state, so that no matter what, we are entering what is called dream time. So this is actually a form of meditation. I know you may have heard people joke about that as a joke, but it actually really is meditation. Another form of meditation that you may not be aware of is when you're doing mundane tasks, such as washing your dishes, cleaning the house, anything that you're getting in the mode of doing a physical activity like exercise, yoga, running, biking, where your mind just starts to kind of drift and not stay focused on just one thing or another, but just like being purely present in that moment, connected with the body, the mind, and the spirit, is also a form of meditation. So for those of you who don't feel that a stillness meditation is ripe for your practice at this time, exercise is also a great form of meditation. Now, what makes something meditation versus not meditation? Well, the act of meditation stems from the mind being able to gain lucidity and not be so limited by the idea of the self here in the physical idea of being in the body and being caught up in constant stream of thought that is keeping you here just only in this aspect of yourself. So it is, in effect, releasing our constant, you could even call it addiction, to third dimension, which is the physical world and the external world from us, and the using our fourth dimensional aspect, which is like our emotions and our thoughts, overly connected, like overly drawn to that aspect of self. So basically, we need a break from that. That's why we sleep, right? It's one of the reasons why we sleep and we dream. We need a break from the concept of being constantly engaged in this aspect of the self. So when we meditate, what is actually occurring is that we are aligning more fully to the interdimensional self. We become aware not just of ourself here in the present of this body. We become aware of ourself. This is how we are actually able to open up to our source flow of energy and also our I am presence. It is also how we are able to let go of our addiction to thought. And in effect, this can do many things for us. I have worked with people who have healed themselves from many ailments, including bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, even through the use of meditation. So I highly recommend it. It's not just something that can help you with anger management, health issues. It can reduce heart disease, effects of heart disease, and high blood pressure. It can also help open your pineal gland. It most certainly will, in fact. So there's many other beneficial properties to meditation that I'm sure that if you were to research, you could find as well. But I did want to talk more about working today into stillness meditation. Now, for some of you who are struggling with this ability, when you try to sit down, you're not sure if you're doing it right. It's hard to release thoughts. It's hard to let go of the anxiety and the intimidation and towards this. But it's really all about giving yourself permission to stop thinking of it as this something that you have to do or that you should do, on something that is more like you want to do. For example, when you wake up in the morning, if you like coffee, you really want to drink coffee. If you are someone who likes to run and you want to run, you're really into running, then that's not like something that you have to like force yourself to think about. It's just something that you want to do, right? So the same way with meditation is really kind of coaxing yourself into a state of allowing. And I recommend that if you are having trouble with doing the stillness meditation, to start out with guided meditations. You can find all different kinds of guided meditations on YouTube. Teal Swan has some very excellent guided meditations. I am actually going to soon be releasing my own series of guided meditations for you. My friend Steph Rodney has some also very lovely guided meditations on iTunes if you want to look up Steph Rodney. And that's with a PH, not an F. And So yeah, guided meditations are a really excellent way to start getting yourself into that practice, because that kind of helps you take care of where your mind is going, so you don't have to worry about what am I going to do, what am I going to do. But for those of you who are ready to try out your stillness meditation, this next segment is specifically for you. And when you are starting to work on your stillness meditation, there's just a few key things to keep in mind. Always make sure that you are dressed very comfortably. Nothing pinching or digging into you, especially for women who wear more undergarments in general. And, make sure that you have a space in your home that feels really, really good for you to just sit down and be there. And if it's more comfortable for you to sit in a chair, or even your bed is okay. You don't have to sit on the floor, or if you do, you can get a big special pillow. Like I have these big pillows that I like to sit on the floor, or my yoga mat. And don't be discouraged if you can't do this position from the get-go, because honestly, I still, after about 15 minutes of sitting in lotus, have to let my legs come out still, and that's because I have sciatica. Something you may not know about me is that I've struggled with chronic pain my entire life. So those of you who struggle with that, I feel your pain. You can do it, I promise. So the other thing to know is to make sure, and this is a basic for Ascension 101, is drink plenty of clean, fresh water. If you can manifest, clean drinking water rather than tap water, or maybe you are really blessed to have great tap water in your area, I don't know, but most cities still have what's called, I'm trying to think of the name of it right now, but they have that stuff in the water that's not really too good for your pineal gland. I'm not sure why I'm not thinking of the word right now. You'll probably all be screaming it at me, but I can't hear you right now. So plenty of water before you start. It's best to not have a lot of food in your stomach to be digesting. And a light snack is fine, but nothing that's going to be pulling the blood to your stomach, because that's going to be distracting to, balancing of the energies in the body. So the other thing is, I like to burn a little bit of incense. You might not want to have too close to you. I like to play sometimes soft music. Again, there's lots of new age music on YouTube, or you can find your own. And I sometimes listen to the Tesla tones on Pamela Arlen's blog that she channeled from Tesla. Those are also really, really good frequencies for your brain and awakening the pineal gland, balancing all of the chakras, really awakening and activating your DNA to maximize the results of your meditation. And then the next aspect of meditation is our posture. So you can lie down, actually. And if you fall asleep instead of meditating, I don't want you to be hard on yourself either. Obviously, you need to be catching up on your sleep if that's the case. But you want to have a straight spine. You don't want to be hunched over. You don't want to be like leaning back, or, if you do lean back, try to keep your back as straight as possible. Your chest ready to expand, your core mildly supported. Not clenched, but we're going to be using our belly to draw in air. So another thing you can look into is the mantra positions for your fingers. are also really helpful if you really get deeper into your meditation practice. You can research those as well. I just like to either do my index finger or my ring finger. And I start out with just a series of deep breathing. Now, another thing you can get into is different types of breathing techniques. I, for one, just like to keep it simple and intuitive to my breathing pattern. When you're drawing up, your chest is going to come out, your belly is going to actually come out. We, with our stress patterns, tend to form a tendency to not let our belly expand when we're breathing in. That is not something we did as children. That's actually something we started to learn as part of a stress response to being in this world and being tense all the time. So being able to expand your belly when you're breathing in is really important. Learning how to breathe this way naturally is going to be very significant to expanding your meditation practice, but I also don't want you to let it be too much of a roadblock for you to making it feel awkward. So I'm going to start out doing a series of a 3x3, 3 long breaths. And then on the end of the third breath, I'm going to hold it for 3 seconds before I really let go and try to really draw that out. And then I'm going to do another 3 and do the same, and then do a last set of 3. And Metatron at 33. There you go. So I'm going to start here. So second set. Third set. So a few more pointers on your breathing is that when you're first learning to breathe, it might feel a little unnatural to you, and I want you to do your best to relax as you're breathing, because if this feels tense or like you're expanding yourself, trying too hard to expand, it's going to kind of be a little counterproductive to the breathing. I want you to think of like a balloon very gently expanding both through your back, through your sides and your belly, and also in your chest. But just really natural. Like, get used to it, because, the more that you do this, the more able you're going to be able to do this. It's like when you first blow up a balloon, it's really tight, right? But when you keep blowing it up over and over again, it gets used to it and it starts to stretch and just relax. So the same thing with your breathing practice. So just start to get used to that. Don't focus on it too much unless that is the direction that you want to go in your practice. And then I would recommend really researching breathing techniques. There's all kinds of different stuff out there to do with that. The other thing is that you want to put your tongue like right at the roof of your mouth where your teeth start, like right between your front two teeth and the roof of your mouth. That's really, really important for you if you are highly energetic and need to ground a lot, especially like I do. That is used for many types of yogic or Tai Chi or energy practices, Qigong, etc. So that is actually a little trick to helping ground yourself in your practice. And then next, as you begin to let your thoughts clear, I want you to first greet every thought that comes up to you, no matter what. I want you to greet it intentionally. And then I want you to do is to imagine actually kissing the thought. Sometimes I literally kiss it. I literally make a kissing motion just to send the message to every cell in my body that I am unconditionally loving you, thought. And you are not my enemy, thought. You are perfect just the way that you are. It's just that right now, I'm going to draw you in the back of my head, in the back of my skull, into a pinpoint. And then I'm going to blow you out on down the stream of my thoughts. I'm going to just release you down that stream lovingly and trusting that as I need you, you'll be right back there to greet me in every passing present moment. So especially for you that are, planners who are trying to think of planning out your day, this is not the time to plan out your day. So if you have those thoughts, you might even keep a notebook handy so that you can know that when you are done meditating, your notebook's right there. You can jot it down later. And so it also could be helpful to have your journal handy so that you can document anything that you've discovered during your journey into meditation. Now, some people will go into what is called an alpha state. And an alpha state is a place where a lot of times it's given to you by one of your guides, or perhaps it is reflective of a real literal place you've been in your life. Or it could be reflective of a place you always imagined in your childhood. Or it could just be like your favorite tree house from your childhood, or some place that you knew that was really safe and you feel very comfortable in. So one of these places for me that has always helped me when I was dealing with like panic attacks, anxiety, and so forth was literally there is this place in Baltimore that is right in the middle of the hood. All around it is total cityscape, like kind of poor neighborhoods, so to speak, but then there is suddenly just this babbling brook that is astounding. It is so gorgeous. And one of my favorite artists, Carly Pitok, did like a meditative art piece, a film that she filmed there. And I actually had the opportunity to visit it once. And it was just such a beautiful, beautiful experience. And a hawk actually swooped down right in front of me and like went into the water and went back up. And I was sunning myself on a rock. So for me, this has created an alpha state, a state where all of my cells can just open up to receive source energy, and nothing will hold it back from doing so. So those places can be helpful if they help us go into a meditative state, a place that we create in our mind, just to be clear that that's understood. And some of us will go into maybe a journeying pattern and start to experience all kinds of images, textures, lights, feelings, sensations, sounds, even smells, or we'll be greeted by our guidance, and things will start to occur. And that's okay too. But before you go into this state, I recommend taking a few minutes, at least 3 minutes, to just really get to a state where all thought is still. This will really help your process of rebalancing all of the energy in your body, and it will really assist your process of whatever is about to occur and kind of just really reset you. I refer to this as like the 0 point once you're able to get to that state. But be very patient with yourself in the beginning of your practice and allowing this, because it does take practice to get there, and it's okay. It's really okay. I mean, as long as you are dedicated to sitting down, taking that time of your day to do something that's bringing you into a meditative state, whatever it be, then that is bringing you into your meditation practice further and further every time. The next thing I want to talk about is a style of meditation that is very near and dear to my heart. It is called love meditation. This meditation is the most powerful meditation in the world that exists today. And the reason being is that it sends so much energy into the grid and connecting with the collective consciousness and aiding our shift, aiding everything that needs to occur in the planet and shifting according to just whatever is needed. Unconditional love is the 0 point of all existence. This 0 point exists in our molecular structure, and every single cell in your body is designed to recognize this type of love. And just to be clear, unconditional love means that there are no conditions placed on this love. And this may be a concept that some of you, it takes a little getting used to, because we have been taught from the time that we are young that love is conditional. I love you. It's like our parents might even have said, I love you unconditionally, when really they are punishing us by withdrawing their attention and love away from us when they feel that we have done something wrong or bad. So it is very difficult to sometimes teach our molecular structure that holds the genetic memory of these events in our childhood to truly embrace unconditional love. So this is also a really great practice for our own process of integrating traumatic events and teaching our inner children unconditional love and what that actually means. So it's kind of like a love therapy bath for the body. And so the love meditation begins like this. First, you want to start with the breathing again. And you want to get to the point where you can have a clear mind for about 3 minutes. You can use a timer. You don't have to. You can just do it intuitively as well. But the first thing that I want you to think of is either someone or something or a time in your life that brings such sheer joy and ecstatic love to your heart. For some of you, it might be the moment that one of your children was born. or the first time you laid eyes on the pet that would become your pet. Some of you, it might be a very special day where everything just seems so perfect and clear and joyous and so just free. For some of you, it might be a person that has always just been so unconditionally there for you and has shown you this kind of love. It can be a lot of different things. For some of you, it might even be a food that you especially enjoy. There's not really any rules there. Whatever brings that type of joy to you, I want you to think about that thing and really think about amplifying it inside of you. Wherever it comes up in the body, it doesn't necessarily have to be the heart chakra. So cultivate that feeling and let it just take over your entire body. And as you're building that feeling, letting it build in the body, let it just take over you and just swim over you like an electric current. If you want to ask for guidance and help with your guidance to help amplify this feeling, that's great too. And I want you to just think about it radiating through your entire aura until it becomes a bubble around you, and how it's just spinning in all of your 7 chakras, your 7 main chakras. And there's actually chakras all around you as well in your auric field. So just letting that feeling just permeate you for like at least 3 minutes, if not longer. And once you've really gotten that amplified feeling, I want you to think about, still breathing, shifting that energy into that person or that thing, like really focusing it into that thing that you truly love for another 3 minutes. And then once you have been able to do this, I want you to think about sending this energy to a place in the world that could use this kind of energy that is really easy to think about, or a cause, like, for example, animal rights protection. I know is something that is very important to a lot of you, so that would be an easy one to think about sending this kind of love to, or a place in the world that you think needs special attention, or to children, or anything like that. And then once you have been able to sustain this point of keeping your love meditation focused, and for a lot of you, you might stay in this phase for a while, and you can, shift it around to various things too that you want to send love to, that are very easy for you to send love to, like friends, family, things like that. And once you have gotten really good at this, I would wait to do the next step until you are. The next phase is to think about something that normally you would have a lot of trouble loving. It might be a person who's challenged your boundaries or hurt you. It might be something that's happening in the world, like pedophilia or child abuse, that really, is hard for you to think about. It might be a world leader who you feel is just really icky. It can be a lot of things. But the significance of this is to help bring unconditional love not only to the things that are easy to love, but also the things that are difficult for us to love. Because this is where we're going to really start to shift in our practice and our awareness to what is called the sacred neutral. Once we get to this level, you'll find that it will really, really make a huge difference in your practice all around, in your perspective of your awareness and your awakening. And I also want to share with you that this is the perspective which angels reside in, which light beings, ascended masters, all of them are able to look at our planet, what we consider to be good and bad. They look at from what's called the sacred neutral space. They are able to look at every single thing with unabashed, unconditional love, because they see the divine in all. And the reason that this is also important to us is because being able to cultivate this kind of love makes it so that we will no longer be a vibrational match to fearing the things that we fear and to attracting the things that we don't want. So there's multiple levels of why this level of being able to unconditionally love is important to us. And also epically, it is interestingly what is going to help us actually integrate in our massive shift that's going on with our planet and our collective consciousness. Right now, we need a lot of assistance from people who are able to do this sort of thing. So if you feel like you're ready to take your practice to that level, I would highly recommend it, because our planet is in a time where it is really needing to integrate a lot of the shadow. And the reason I say integrate and rather than release or get rid of or anything like that is that that language is still based on duality thinking. Duality implies that there is good and evil, that there are things that we don't want in our lives that we are trying to get away from as light workers. And honestly, that is a misunderstanding, because how it actually works with the darkness is that the darkness is part of this technology that helps fuel our expansion. Without the darkness, we would still be essentially in singularity and source. We would just be light, and we would have no shading in the artwork. Like if you look at a painting, you see the shadowing, you see the lines, you see the contrast in the painting, right? Or with music, you see the high notes and low notes. With electricity, you see the positive and the negative polarity. It is the same thing in our experience of the planet. What makes something good or bad to us is how it actually feels to us and how we perceive it. And so our consciousness is going through a shift where we are going to start changing actually how we perceive things, and that in turn is going to enlighten our perspectives, our behaviors, our paradigms, how we do everything in this reality. So that is why I strongly recommend adding love meditation to your practice if you feel that you are ripe to that at this time. I hope that this video has been very helpful in answering your questions regarding meditation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. You can do so at theholographicheartscape@gmail.com or by finding me under Metamela on Facebook. And I do love you all so very much and include all of you in my love meditations. I keep my aspect and love meditation for you all at all times, all hours of the day, outside of time. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste.